Right, you want to just take a look in detail. That's the first thing is marriage and family counseling. I just mentioned a little bit about it, but let's just do it. In the nationwide mental health survey mentioned earlier in this chapter, nearly 60% of the college counseling opportunities were family problems. Definitely, yeah. 42% marriage, 12% parent-child, and 5% other family relationship problems. It's, uh, it's, the, it's out of the Americans view their mental health. The marriage and family counseling. Well, actually, most problems are come from marriage and family problems, and maybe working places and other stuff must be the secondaries. The majority of cases are marriage and family counseling. So, and then even though they are living, living alone, they still have marriage or couple problems and family problems with their parents or their children. Um, so, so knowing this and providing marriage and family counseling is pretty important. The new approach is called role relationship counseling or couple counseling. This approach tends to be more efficient time wise and also more effective in healing a sick marriage by improving the quality of the marital interaction. So we want to just dig into more, um, dig in more role relationships later. Role relationship counseling aims neither at basic personality changes nor at depth insight. Actually, these are more time consuming. But its goal is more modest to help the couple make their relationship more mutually satisfying. The marriage relationship itself is sick. It is the patient. The focus of counseling is on the interaction which occurs in shapes their relationship. The between of a marriage is seen as far more than the sum of the problem within the two persons. Well, nowadays it is not. It can be got somebody can claim that the marriage is not only man and woman, but man and man, women and women, or something like that, or transgenders. Well, I'm a, well, I know there are those relationships as couples and as couples, but basically I want to just use these men and women um, and children, boys and girls. Um, so the role relationship is it's not talking about one person or one person or one person or one person. When they have problems in their relationships, or they have particular relationship too, when they have relationship problems, there can be lots of problems between this, between this, between this, between this, between this, um, and between them too. So there are lots of relationships. So how many relationships in one family? Let's say one family, this family, four families, one, two, three, four, five, six relationships. Okay. Um, so in a family, in this family, there are six relationships at least, at least. No extended problems. There are six relationships, and when they have relationship problems, in this couple, we used to dig in this one by one, but role relationship is focusing on this relationship only, okay? And what they need in this relationship. There are some programs like marriage enrichment seminars and conference. That's also called ME. There are lots of ME programs. Those programs are good, depends on, but when they have problems, they want to just take ME, marriage enrichment programs. Those are for enriching that relationship. At the same time, for enriching, you need to take care of the existing problems, issues, and potential problems and past problems. Okay. For solving that relationship problems, if you only focus on this guy or this woman, it takes a long time. So they want to just this one role relationship. The method is focusing on the relationship itself. So need what they need, what they expect each other. There can be financial, sexual, and any other role because they have roles. Father can work, and mother can work, and both can work in different areas. He can work in an office or at home, or she can work at home or in an office too. So the interaction, there is dynamic, okay, between these two people. There are dynamics always, and there can be so many things, okay. So it is focusing on between. Using a role relationship approach, it goes with it, to help them re-establish meaningful communication. That is quite important, to re-establish. Why re? They establish their communication, meaningful communication. When they meet together first, all things are meaningful. Talking, conversation, touching, having sex, living together, meeting together, traveling together. Those are all meaningful. They love that. They love all kinds of things, and all are meaningful. But later on, they can make problems. He can make problems. She can make problems. They both can make problems. Okay? Problems. And then all issues and situations, conditions, when they sick or something, make mistakes, or just they lose one of them or both can lose their jobs. Well, or because she has bad relationship with her son, and then that makes another problem between them. Okay, and then they, in a certain point, they need to re-establish. Okay, for the better and meaningful communication. They say just little things about this and that, but they don't share their feelings and thinkings and futures, and they get in trouble. So they need to re-establish, okay, so that they will have the instrument for working at their problems. B, to interrupt their negative self-perpetuating inaction pattern of mutual attack and retaliation, because both have been hurt so severely they probably cannot extricate themselves from this vicious cycle unassisted. The cycle's momentum can carry a couple into the divorce court. When they meet together and when they started their relationship at first, they, all things are meaningful, they are happy and they have a joyful relationship, but when they just establish a certain negative relationship little by little, it can come, negative relationship, negative communication can come and happen all of a sudden, but actually little things just, come and go, and then in a big picture, they have kind of a negative way of communicating and negative relationship between those couples. So when a person offensive, the other person can be offensive also, or defensive. Well, but they can offense means negative itself, but they can talk viciously and aggressively and, like spelling bad words and just, make the other person feel depressed, feel useless. And then, the person can be depressed actually and feeling bad, and the other person can be offensive again. When those reactions and relationships last longer, and that can be habitual too. Until they decide they stop their negative reactions to other party, and then they have to practice it until they set establish the meaningful communication. So because those are habitual, okay, the negative reactions, once they set the negative relationships, negative reactions, one person or the other person or both people have to decide not to do it anymore, and then they have to practice it. And it takes time. So there are two things. They have to decide to stop doing bad things. And they have to practice it. If they don't do that, especially practice, stop negative things, negative response, negative actions, words, behaviors, attitudes, and way of life, still they have to practice for a while until they form and re-establish meaningful communication, meaningful relationship, meaningful behaviors, meaningful attitudes. For example, this is kind of what happening. This guy squeezed the toothpaste from the bottom, and this girl squeezed the toothpaste in the middle, or squeezed the head part, and they don't like each other, but it's okay when they meet at first, okay? All things are beautiful, all things are great. But as time passes, those two people have different habits, way of life, even squeezing toothpaste. Then, as time passes, they can ask you better just squeeze the toothpaste from the bottle. And then the other person can say, oh, okay, I'll try to do it. Then it's okay, you know? But what if the other person says, it's the same thing, I squeeze the same amount of toothpaste. I just squeeze out little, less toothpaste than you, so it doesn't matter. Eventually, we're gonna use all paste, so it doesn't matter, whether you squeeze the bottom, you squeeze the head, or middle. And then, well, the other person can accept, oh, that makes sense, let's do it whatever we want, and there's no problem. But what if this person said, this guy says, it's better, but it is good, and it is more reasonable to squeeze it from the bottom, and they're gonna fight. Okay? And he squeezes it at the bottom and squeezes it at the top, and as time passes, they're gonna hate each other. Yeah? And because they don't like the squeezing toothpaste, the way of squeezing toothpaste, they don't like other things too, because they have kind of a bad feelings and mind thinking about the squeezing toothpaste, and they can see other things wrong or bad, or they're gonna fight on many other things too. Well, then they need to reestablish the meaningful communication and meaningful relationship. So let's say this guy and this guy just decided, okay, I'm not gonna just fight with the girl, so I'm gonna just buy another toothpaste. That's what I did. Another toothpaste, and I just, this is my toothpaste, this is your toothpaste, you just squeeze whatever you want, and I'm just squeezing from the bottom. Problem solved. But still, he or she can practice whenever they see each other's toothpaste, they have to accept, okay, that's it, okay, that's hers. And that is re-establishment, little thing, but it can be applied to other heavier problems and issues. And then they have to practice to accept when other parties' behaviors. All right. So it can be applied to many other things, as I said, to about the parenting. But the parenting, they have to make agreement, because they don't wanna make those kids confused. So you just do homework first and play, and that's what he said. And she said you just homework first and play. And he says play first and do homework, because you did a lot, you did study a lot at school. You just play first and do homework, and then they're gonna get confused, and they're gonna fight more. Okay, so then they have a bad relationship on educating and raising kids, because they have different ways of parenting and caring, educating kids. So, and then they have a bad relationship because of those. And they need to set the re-establishment. Okay, let's stop doing that and let's talk about it. Okay? And they need to compromise. And they need to think about it. and they need to just set, just one particular way they can just teach their kids, and they have to practice it, because it takes time to have to acquire different habits. Because we are driving, when we drive, we don't think much. We just put the shift to drive, and we just drive, accelerate, brake, turn the wheels. We don't think about much. Do you think whenever you just turn, do you have to decide, oh, I'm gonna just turn my wheel, steering wheel, 15 degree, little by little? Do you think? You don't think. Those are your habits. But if you wanna just change your habit, it takes time. You need to get used to it. When I drove in Thailand is opposite to, they drive left, but we drive right in the United States. So it was very dangerous when I first drove the car in Thailand. And I need to change the shift is on the left side instead of the right side. It was confusing, but I just tried it, and it was manual. And it was not automatic. So I had to just change the shift and use my both foot, and then both feet, and I have to, look out different ways. It was very confusing. I almost got killed once, right? So it's the same thing. If you want to just decide to say smoothly and nice way, you have to make a decision, and you need to practice it for a while until you get used to it. Or you're going to go divorce court. See, to help them become aware of the nature of their interaction and the conflicts in the role expectations which each has had for himself and the other. Most interaction in sick marriage is blind, automatic, and more adaptive. Okay? So they have to understand what I'm doing. What is my, natural way to react to my wife and husband, and boyfriend. They have to know it. They have to know what's going on. If they don't know, if they don't understand what's going on, what I'm doing, what the other party is doing, they cannot fix it. They have to know, understand, and find the problems, and they have to know the better ways. D, to assist them in this. Well, when I'm doing something wrong, I don't understand that I'm, doing wrong or right sometimes. Okay. But what I'm believing is that we all know, but we do that on purpose because we think we can do it, and the other parties have to, follow my rule, follow my way. Okay, it's kind of a power game, something. So we don't want to just, but we pretend that we don't know it. People are so, sometimes it's helpless. They do something wrong on purpose, and they pretend they don't know it. Why? Because they want to do the same thing over and over, and they don't want to change it. So they just pretend they don't know that they are wrong, but they are wrong. So they need other person, third party, to just guide them and teach them and let them know what's going on. D, to assist them in discovering ways to modify their attitudes, role expectations, and marital behavior so as to decrease friction and increase mutual need satisfaction. This includes helping them decide on some mutual goals which both desire and then beginning to work toward them. So they have to know, do you guys really want to have better relationship, mutual relationship, rather than existing nasty, ugly, stupid relationship? All people gonna say they need a mutual relationship, but I don't want to change. She has to change. He has to change. That's what people do. But once they agree, that they want to have a mutual relationship, better relationship, buttery, beautiful, happy relationship, then they think and find and practice what they need to do for themselves and for themselves, the couples. To help them learn how to relate with their more mature rather than their more childish sides. F, to help them accept the things about their partner which cannot be changed. This means giving up their futile campaigns to reform each other. When this pressure is removed, many couples actually begin to change in significant ways. Oh, you cannot change this. Change it. Then you're gonna fight more, but you can't change it with some reason. Okay? I can accept it. Beautiful. Beautiful. But it's hard to accept that. You don't change this little thing for me. Do you think I am nothing? Then it's a problem. Then the other party can change it. The other party can try to change it. Because it's not only for the person, but for both. Okay? But people usually don't change. They don't want to change little things. And couples are fighting on little things a lot than big problems. Okay? For example, I don't have one arm. Can you fix it? No. So whenever I lift heavy things, I need your help. That's right. You have to accept it. Right? But what if you don't wash your hands before you touch others? And the other party can ask you, please wash your hands before you touch my face and body. No one can say, I cannot wash my hands before I touch you. Where are you living at? You just turn the tap. You can get tap waters any places. Tap waters and hot waters, and you have soap. But you are saying you cannot wash your hands before you touch me? That's not acceptable. That's not acceptable. I'm not saying you have to accept that, but there are some things that people cannot change. And if that doesn't matter to you, you can ask them. You can accept that. But touching me with dirty hands, you don't have to accept it, because the other party can wash their hands. Waters, soaps are all over the places. Okay, or you can just use your wet towel. Okay. In counseling with the Greens, the minister is a combination with referee. Referee means "Woo! Violation, yellow card, no red card though. Okay? Who sees that each gets an opportunity to voice his views or her views on each issue, and coach who helps them learn how to play the marriage game more constructively. Okay? How to fight constructively. You fight to win all the time, or you just fight to crush other party all the time. Family group counseling. Well, in general, group counseling can be dangerous in some places, but family group counseling, we need that, often actually. It offers a useful tool for helping families with a disturbed member or with parent-child problems. The family group counseling approach is useful in cases of troubled adolescents where intra-family communication has broken down after an initial conference with the parents to explain the needs for family sessions and gain their cooperation. Subsequent sessions include the entire family. So these four family members got together for family group counseling because they have malfunctions between them. So when they have problems in relationship out of six relationships, or all six relationships can be broken down, and then they need family group counseling. So they have to understand what's going on. Why she just showed, just told you just do homework first and play, and why he's saying you just play first and do homework, and they can get together for discussing, and they have to understand why she's saying that, why he's saying that, and they can ask, you guys to make an agreement. So just let us do one thing. No, not to do two opposite things at the same time. They cannot do it, right? And then they can get together and talk about this and that, and they can just reach an agreement, hopefully. So that can be simple, or some things are very difficult. Okay. So, but when a father and son has problems, still four families can get together for family group counseling, so they can hear what they are thinking and feelings about that problem, relationship problem between two guys, and that they can see what they didn't, what they haven't just thought about it. Okay, and then there is more chance that they can change, because they have to realize that what others looking at, and what others thinking about the relationship, the broken relationship. Excuse me. The goals are to help them establish meaningful communication, develop awareness of the roles and interaction patterns of various family members, experiment with modifications in roles and behavior, and most important, to allow the family to experience its essential unity and interdependence. The counselor's presence as referee and coach allows the family to experiment with new patterns of relationship, because we need to practice. We need to practice. We need to practice to achieve something meaningful. Even robberies and thieves, they practice a lot, right? Because they don't want to caught by police officers. Because they don't want to just spend lots of years, months and years in prison. So they practice a lot. Even thieves and robbery is practiced for their successful job, but how we don't practice for our happy family relationships. We have to practice. If you don't practice, playing soccer, you cannot be a better, good soccer player at all. You do practice, you get sweat for playing golf, for playing volleyballs, for just playing wrestlings. But why don't you practice for the relationships of your family? That's nonsense, right? And we have to know and understand the relationship is not automated. Whatever I do, you just accept it, you just do be good to me. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Okay? Even though you make money and your other party doesn't make any money but do housework, no matter what, no matter what. Because I make money, I'm the breadwinner, breadwinner, you just follow, and you just listen to me and follow my rule, my way. It doesn't work like that. We need to we need to practice. We need to practice speak smoothly, softly. We need to practice, show our loves to others. We need to practice the attitude toward our family members. We need to practice. And it takes time. It is against our habits. Because of it, it is difficult. It is difficult. I know. That's why we need to practice. If it's easy, why we do practice? We don't need to practice. But we need to practice because it is against our habits, because it is against our emotions, because it is against our thinking. We need to practice for better relationship. And it takes time. And it is difficult. Okay? But they don't know, or they pretend that they don't know it. So we need to referee sometimes. That's why we need referees. Even though there are referees in baseball field and soccer field, they still fight. They go nasty. What if they don't have referees? They're gonna go crazy. They're gonna be more nasty. Sportive and crisis counseling. Well, there are at least 4 varieties of supportive counseling. Crisis, stopgap, sustaining, and supportive growth action counseling. All 4 make significant contributions to mental health through providing supportive relationships. Crisis, stopgap, sustaining, and supportive growth action. 1. Crisis counseling. No matter how psychologically healthy a person is, there are times when his or her inner resources are severely strained by crises such as accidents, car accidents, fell from the working places, high buildings, illness, bereavement, natural disasters, unemployment, handicaps, and family traumas such as alcoholism. At such stress points, many individuals are helped by a supportive counseling relationships. A pastor I know, he was a prominent banker. He just went to the best college, and he got in the best bank, the central bank in Korea, but he lost his both sides and he became blind. The person I helped, he was a nice businessman, so he was riding really nice car because he was in the car business. And to home, he got a car accident and he just hit his head against the steering wheel, and he lost two eyes all at once. Those people actually tried suicide a couple of times. Even their family members, they tried to kill themselves because of the tragedy, because they are helpless, because they got shot, because they don't have enough energy to live with blindness, as blind. They just bang their heads on the poles and walls and doors many times. So once people got blind, they got nose problems because they bang their heads and nose at the highest part they hit. Many people got broken their nose. And then those people and their families need crisis counseling because they don't know what to do. They don't know how to accept it. They don't know how to live a new life without as a blind handicap. And they don't know how to help those people. The minister's role in normal grief is essentially to support, to encourage, catharsis of feeling, and to make religious resources readily available. Proximity to death arouses deep death fear in the survivors, including the minister. This existential anxiety can be handled constructively only by the experience of religious trust. Because they can find anything they can depend on. There is no way they can understand what happened. Through his priestly role, the minister brings familiar rituals and theological beliefs to serve as vehicles of trust. He or she should avoid blocking the natural flow of grief by implying that it is somehow unchristian to experience or express deep sorrow. I hate when pastors say, you don't have to cry in your father's or mother's funeral because they're gonna go heaven. You have to be happy. What the? I can't understand. They know their parents go heaven because they are Christians. But still, they cannot see their parents anymore. So they are sad for that. Because they remind that they just made their parents disappointed with this and that, because they regret many things because they didn't support their parents so well. Many things are involved in the funeral and the loss, but the pastor just say, don't cry, they are in the heaven. Then I'm just want to say, Pastor, I hope your parents die. When your parents die, I hope you don't cry. Can they do that? They cannot do that even by themselves. But why they are saying that? It's stupid. There are so many stupid pastors and priests. Because they don't understand the people's emotions and thinkings. They don't understand what the soul is. Can you hold your peace and poops for many days, many hours? No. Same thing. When you got something in your heart, that's why they are crying. That's why they, cry out. Mourning, experiencing the awful pain of loss is an essential part. It's an essential part of the healing recovery process. And you don't have to say, just cry, it's good for you. You don't have to say. Just let them do it. And just be with them. And you can pray for them. What else you can do? Don't ever say, don't cry. Who are you? Can you control your emotions? If you don't, if you can't, why do you ask that others? The method is to focus on memories of the loved one, assisting the person to become aware of and resolve his powerful, conflicted feelings about the loss. The process is painful, but there is no other road to heal it. Medical help should be thought when psychosis, severe depression, or psychosomatic problems are obvious or suspected. Psychosomatic means psycho and somatic. Soma means body. Okay, psycho is mind or something. Okay. When they have emotional problems, they're gonna get body problems too. When they have body problems, they're gonna get mind problems too. When people are hospitalized for many days, they're gonna get depression, right? Are you happy because you are in the hospital for 1 month, 2 months? Do you think you'll be happy? No. Even one day you are not happy with it. So that's connected. Psychosomatic means you have a mental problem, emotional problems, and your body gonna go down. So you cannot eat when you're sad. You just lost your father and you eat a lot of steaks. Do you think you can do that? No. You lose appetite because psychosomatic. That's natural. That's natural. The process is painful. So the method is to focus on memories of the loved one. How much I loved my father. How much my father loved me. He loved me a lot, but I didn't do good to my father. It's sad, and I can cry. Right? Number 2, stopgap supportive counseling. A seriously disturbed young man contacted a minister in the town to which he had moved recently. After an initial screening interview, he was placed on the clinic's waiting list. During 2 months of waiting, the minister saw him regularly making an attempt to engage in inside counseling. He merely allowed the man opportunity to pour out his fears and troubles in a supportive, accepting relationship. This relationship probably allowed him to remain functional until psychiatric help was available. In many similar cases, a pastor can render invaluable stopgap aid to a person in desperate need. That's a stopgap supportive counseling. 3. Sustaining counseling. For some persons who have low ego strength or are irreversibly crippled emotionally, an ongoing relationship with an authority figure allows them to continue to function. That's a sustaining counseling. Supporting, sustaining. When heavy things following onto you, you just hold it, it's a sustain. Sportive growth action counseling. Supportive counseling with certain people does much more than simply sustain them. It provides the interpersonal environment in which they can grow in their ability to handle life constructively. The heart of such a counseling is a steady, dependable relationship with the minister. Steady, dependable relationship with the minister. The person acquires strength not by achieving depth, insight, but by the exercise of making decisions, taking responsibilities, often small at the beginning, and handling the stresses of his life situation while in a supportive relationship. Okay, that's supportive growth action counseling. You wanna just support something to the person. In supportive growth action counseling, the pastor focuses on present reality. Now, what are you going to do? You don't want to just try to analyze the person from from his or her 4 years old memories or something like that. You can do that if you want, but you want to just start from now and see the reality. Current relationships and the practical problems of handling one's life situation more adequately. He is as interested in what a person does about his problems as how he feels and she feels. No attempt is made to ferret out the underlying causes. Rather than search in the irrational and mature side of a person's life, the minister relates to his rational and mature side. Okay. What about the referral counseling? Since many people trust his or her judgment, and turn to him or her spontaneously when trouble strikes, a minister is in a strategic position to assist them in finding competent, specialized help. A wise referral is one of the most significant services he can render a suffering church members. Okay? When a person has schizophrenia problems, you want to just refer, that person to a specialist in schizophrenia. Okay. When you have a headache, you don't send the person to the orthopedics or orthodontics. Those that can be related, but when you just when you bleed on your palm, you don't want to just send the person to the foot doctor, pediatrics. Same thing. You want to just find the right person you can refer your clients to. That's why we need to have solid networking you can trust. If you don't know those networks, if you don't have that networking, co-working, cooperations, how are you gonna just take care of those people? You don't know how to take care of your church members and clients, so you just pray and go. That's the most ridiculous thing, I think. So you have to have solid network so that they can work together with you. As soon as a clergyman arrives in a new parish, new church, he or she should begin to assemble a referral file of community resources. That's what I'm saying. You need social workers, medical doctors, other counselors, and psychiatrists. It is community has a welfare planning council. It may provide a directly or a phone information service listing health and welfare services. Professionals who have been in the area for a while are often sources of reliable information. Okay, find the network. Here are some basic guidelines for referral counseling. A, create this expectation. When the minister's availability for counseling is pretended in the church paper, his function of assisting persons in finding specialized help should always be mentioned. B. Mention the possibility only in any relationship in which one suspects or referral might be in order. The longer one waits, the more referral will arouse feelings of rejection. If a counselee doesn't improve after 4 to 8 sessions, he probably should be referred. Depends on the conditions and situations, but so we don't want to just do long-term counseling in general, but we need that too, and we do that when we need it. But basically, we just do short-term counseling in 10 sessions, and you want to just think about it. That's general. That's in general. But there can be more than 10 sessions for helping people. C. Use rapport with a minister as a bridge over which the person can walk into another relationship. This is facilitated if he knows that the minister knows and trusts the person to whom he is referred. Okay, so rapport, relationship, trust, relationship. Okay, so that's the first thing you need to do, rapport. If they don't trust you, they're not gonna come to you. You can say that, why don't you come? Because they don't trust you. They don't come. D. Attempt to remove any emotional blocks which may prevent him or her from going to the person or agency suggested. So you refer your clients and church members to a person and they can refuse. Well, just trust, just to support your clients and make those people come forward so they can visit, the referred person. This may take several sessions or even several months of counseling. When a referral is recommended, the minister should routinely ask what the person has heard about that person or agency and how he feels about going there for help. You just send your church members and you don't ask it, that's not appropriate, so you just ask what's going on, how did you feel, what do you think, what did you learn from the agents or the counselor or psychiatrists or social workers or something. Okay, so you want to just ask your clients routinely. It is essential to search out the fears, misinformation, and emotional resistances, which otherwise will cause many referrals to be unsuccessful. It is also wise to ask the person to report back, indicating a continuing interest in his obtaining the best available help. If possible, the person should make his own appointment. This keeps the initiative where it belongs and also begins a relationship with the new helping resources. Okay, so encourage the person to contact first, but if they don't do that, you want to just work with your clients, and you can't just visit the agents or counselors or other resources together for the first time. If the minister should let the person know that his pastoral concern and care will continue undiminished to offer the referral. I just refer you to somebody and I'm going to forgive you. No, I'm going to just be with you always until you finish the, just to solve your problem. And even after that, I'm here always for you, something like that. This will lessen the sense of rejection. However, it is essential that a person referred for counseling or psychotherapy not also continue to counsel with the pastor, one counselor at a time. Short-term executive and decision-making counseling, that is another counseling of 7. In many counseling situations, the minister needs to combine the skills of the educator, the guide, and the counselor. Effectiveness in such short-term pastoral guidance depends on the minister's wise use of his special knowledge and authority. Awareness of when to use advice, instruction, and guidance to facilitate rather than block growth is one aspect of the sensitivity of a well-trained counselor. Well, basically, pastors teach and present and give sermons. So when pastors preach and give a sermon, people listen. And because of the spiritual authorities you have, they listen. Okay, but it depends on whether they just accept all things you just preach or not. But anyway, basically they accept it. Because you have a spiritual authority, when you educate, when you provide classes, when you provide seminars, okay, or special teachings, it is different. They have general other secular lecturers or speakers. Then you teach them. Your teaching can be more powerful because they know that you have a spiritual authority. So you have to be careful when you teach people something. But when you teach people and they listen to you, better, I think, and take your teachings seriously because you have a spiritual authority. The pastor's authority is a strong medicine and should be used in counseling as elsewhere with caution and moderation under circumstances such as these. A. When a person's decision-making ability is temporarily crippled, encouraging a grief-crushed person to choose a coffin within his price range is an example. B. To block a precipitous impulsive action with serious reversible consequences. A minister is obliged to use persuasion, coercion, and with physical restraint if necessary to save a person bent on suicide. In cases where any dangerous impulsive actions are planned, the minister's role is to interrupt the person's momentum, to encourage them to explore the probable consequences and to consider alternatives. Because once they think one thing, they just focus on that and they think that is right. And that is the only way they can do. But actually, there are many choices and options that they cannot see. So the pastors want to show them there are other options that they can do for the better result, for the better process. Okay? Because they are blinded once they started on one thing. That's what people do. So the chess players don't see what they can, whether they have other options or not. Because they are focusing on, one thing, or sometimes they don't see because they got frustrated, they got anxious. Okay? So they have fear or something like that, so they cannot see everything. But other, just observers can see better way sometimes. But you are pastors, so you can see, many other options. So you can show that to your clients so that they can get benefits from other alternatives. C. With those who are mature enough in their relations with authority to accept or reject suggestions or weighing their merits. It is relatively safe to advise, except in an emergency. A wise counselor will never give advice or attempt to instruct a person until he understands something of that person's inner world. Just to show the way, because it's an emergency situation. Firefighters and police officers don't just discuss with the victims. can you do this, or do you think this is okay or not? They don't say that. Move. They say move. Evacuate. Flee. Go this way. Hide yourself. Bend your body. Simple. So sometimes pastors don't want to just be too nice, but they don't have to be, stupid. They have to be wise. Sometimes they have to direct something. Go this way. Don't do it. Because they don't have time to discuss whether that is biblical or not. Okay? One thing a minister needs is faith in effectiveness of skilled short-term counseling. Experience at family service centers has shown that many people can be helped significantly in one or two sessions at a time of crucial decision or crisis. An impulsive decision to initiate divorce proceedings made during the heart of a domestic battle often proves when the smoke has cleared to be unfortunate because of the chain reaction of lawyers maneuvering and mutual recriminations which follows such a decision. The action may be difficult to reverse. So that's why ministry needs the faith in the effectiveness of the skilled short-term counseling. Okay, and actually ministers don't have much time for the long-term sessions. But as I said, if they need it, they have to do it. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be hesitant to it. You just don't limit your counseling sessions, as 10 or 8 or 5 or something. But because that is totally depends on the situations and your clients. All right, we're gonna just resume. We're gonna do the final class next week.